But thank you very much indeed for coming. And as you can see, a pretty good year, all in all, a pretty good 6 months, shall I say. Just under 16% growth in underlying earnings, which in the face of, I would say, a perhaps a more difficult environment, certainly for Adrian's residential business, is a very good result indeed. It's really been driven by good growth in rental income, both here and on the mainland. At the gross rental line, we had 20% growth in mainland China, a bit less in Hong Kong, around 5%. Whether we get the same level of performance in the second half is obviously open to question, and that's really the reasoning behind what is a small cut in dividends. The press commented on that and wondered why, with underlying earnings, why we're cutting dividends. Aren't we mean? Are we too cautious? The reality is we pay out half our underlying earnings over the economic cycle, and clearly that 2% cut in dividends is really we acknowledging that the second half of 2013 is probably not going to be as good for residential sales, at least, as the second half of 2012, no more, no less. I still think the business is in fundamentally excellent shape, and I'm still very confident about the medium term, particularly in the context of what we've been experiencing on the mainland recently. It's obviously been a long, hard road to get to where we are, but we have 3 operating centres in the mainland and soon to have 2 more. Taikoo Hui in particular has had sensational growth in the first half. They had retail sales growth of just under 29%, which is absolutely tremendous. Can't leave out America. As you know, we've been investing in Miami. It was a sensational property, but it's indicative of just how strong the market is in Miami. I feel generally pretty good about that investment, and the residential market and residential sales will be an important part of the picture there. This slide highlights a few of the events in the first half of the year. We sold the majority of Pinnacle 1, which is an office tower in the Dachi Temple project. We're very happy with the price we got. Building that site will be helpful because it'll bring traffic to the retail centre. We recently acquired a site, addresses of which is 700 Brickell Avenue. Brickell Avenue is a very important thoroughfare in Miami, so that will give the site, the Brickell City Centre site, Brickell Avenue frontage, and that will be very important for the development of the overall centre. But it also gives us in the region of about 1.8 million square feet of additional space to develop over the medium term. The acquisition by the joint venture which operates Citygate, we do feel very, very good about that project too. Those of you who are in the retail segment will know what a great story the outlet mall has been in Tung Chung. It really has transformed both profitability of that project and the look of Tung Chung. Financial summary, giving you a bit more detail on the hard numbers. As I say, the key number is that one ringed, 15.5% increase in underlying earnings. As you can see toward the bottom of this chart, the company's balance sheet remains extremely strong in spite of continued expenditure on development projects, i.e. residential projects in Hong Kong, and investment projects in the US, the mainland and in Hong Kong. Our net debt has stayed pretty constant, which tells you that cash generation is still very good, and gearing, as you can see, has dropped slightly as the value of our equity in the balance sheet has gone up. So very strong business, good underlying growth. Can't get away from the fact that in the second half we probably won't have the same level of profitability from residential sales, but the core of the business, which is our investment business, is still in very, very good shape.
Despite the prevailing economic sentiment, I think the performance in the first half of the office portfolio has been very strong. Gross revenue, I think, is up nearly 5% compared with the first 6 months of last year. And I think we're on track to finish ahead of last year, which I think I'm right in saying that would be then a record contribution to the bottom line from Swire Properties office portfolio to Swire Props and Swire Pacific. Pacific Place did a very good job in concluding a number of sizable new lettings at the end of last year, and were very good at concluding a number of key renewals. One Island East is performing exceptionally well, rents in the mid-50s to mid-60s. I think for Island East, the rents will remain fairly robust. And then, of course, the redevelopment of Somerset House, which is everyone is talking about, it's very much going to be a game changer for us. Our aspirations are obviously to get a consolidation of the banking sector tenants down here. And for us to do that, we realise we can't just sort of rely on redeveloping the building in isolation. It's got to be a combined and coordinated upgrade and enhancement of the sense of arrival, the connectivity, the street level retail, the F&B mix. And so we have a small committee that keeps expanding. Going forward, I think it's very much focusing on tenant retention because there's no new demand, there's no new supply.
For Pacific Place in the coming year, I think it's more stabilized. We finish all our contemporization, so our effort can put on, say, how can we drive more traffic, increase the sales revenue. Within the shopping center, there are bound to be tenants changes. We now have Louis Vuitton, LV forming a triplex, and Dior will be another duplex store. The final two will be Prada and Chanel. We now go to the second shopping center, City Plaza. Next year, all the colored area will be affected doing renovation. Our target is to finish all this 250,000 square feet by Christmas 2014, next year. And Citygate, of course, Citygate, we heard from Martin that we secured the site next door, so there are a lot of, say, ongoing work on the drawing board at the moment, but involve a lot of, say, detailed discussion.
A quick recap on the government initiative, stamp duty. And if you resell the property within 6 months, 40% duty means the transaction volume has come down very significantly. With the rather gloomy background I've just given you, conversely, in April, launched Dunbar Place rather successfully. We sold 21 apartments out of 30 under the new law. Average price per apartment is about $29 million. Looking ahead, we'll be focusing on the relaunches of Azura and Argenta. In addition, we are preparing 2 new launches. First one, Mount Parker Residence, 33 Seymour Road. Next 6 months, the market is going to be challenging. Other developers and managers now finish the sales exposure, so a lot of others coming onto place. So that sums up. If you have a good product in good location, good management, you can sell. That's why property's reputation allows us to buck the trend in these very difficult market conditions.